I've been playing HSR for about 2 months now, and it's pretty good. For context, this is what I played before, so it helps that I jumped from 16-bit pixel art to fully detailed 3D. Breath of fresh air. Anyway, I'm here to talk about the story, and having said my piece about HSR's intro, I genuinely think that Jarilo-IV cast is fantastic. Which isn't surprising. If Hoyoverse knows how to do one thing, it's making great character concepts. So sit back and enjoy a new player's perspective on the story's early chapters. Storyrail starts with two people sneaking into a space station during an alien invasion, Kafka and Silverwolf. I always love it when characters are introduced as a duo. Here, there's not much depth yet. Like, Kafka is tall, calm, and hot. Silverwolf is arrogant, short, and cute. They're clearly mysterious allies we're going to learn more about later, which is fine, but what's odd is that this narrative role overlaps with Wealth Yang and Himiko, since they're also unexplained mysterious allies. Except they're not really that hidden, they sit on the Astral Express, badly delivering exposition. Like, these two don't even help with the first planet mission. I'm getting ahead of myself though. The duo make it to a storage room where a Stellaron, an object filled with chaotic power, is being kept, and after tampering with it, create a trailblazer for the player to inhabit. I actually like the MC here better than Genshin's Traveler, despite me dissing the very intro where they were introduced. The Trailblazer's dialogue is consistently funnier, making him have a buttload more personality compared to Blank Slate Man. We then meet March 7th and Dunhang, who are evacuating the station and mistake him for an employee. Personally, March 7th's cheerfulness reads as sarcasm to me, and Dunhang's detachment feels like mild disappointment toward everything in the universe and not really cool guy territory. They're fine if unremarkable. I don't really vibe with the main team, especially since they're doing the contrasting characters trick again, which once is fine, two is a pattern, but three in a row feels redundant. Especially because they also have mysterious pasts that we don't get to learn about until much later. Like, technically, I know March 7th was found in a block of ice, but that's trivia at this point. This is probably another reason why the intro pushes new players away. 6 characters in a row with no real explanation for who they are, why they're doing stuff, while you're also expected to learn the gameplay systems. It's not hard why people skip the story entirely. Anyway, after a fight with a giant doom beast dragon and, well, saving us, I finally get to meet Herta, the space station's owner, who is the first character I kinda love for the simple fact that she explains things in an interesting way. In a sci-fi setting, you'd think good exposition would be a priority, but it's really telling that someone like Herta only appears after 30 minutes of confusion. Now, on paper, Herta is in the Wealth and Himiko territory of exposition dumpers. She delivers her explanations in the most narcissistic way possible. Like, she's not even fazed by the alien invasion, the meddling, or the fact that the MC is technically her property. Herta isn't even here in person. The team is speaking with a puppet, which she even gives to the MC to join their party. She cares more about using the space station to access her VR game than literally anything else. Perfect characterization. She's never leaving my party, by the way. Once on the train, I meet Pom Pom, the feisty mascot character who is a direct parallel to Paimon from Genshin, but where Paimon is this constant companion that acts as the traveler's voice, this guy is strictly just a rewards giver and the conductor, meaning that his antics are always confined to the train. He never gets annoying, he never intrudes on more serious scenarios, and he keeps his perfect characterization. Also, his walk cycle reminds me of Wolfie and the Aranara from Genshin, so that's plus points on his end. The intro finally ends, flying off into the black of space, and the real first expedition starts. The cast is immediately more compelling because they're tied to a self-contained story instead of us just teasing arcs for the distant future. Jarilo-IV, an ice cube of a planet, has a Stellaron somewhere on its surface and it's blocking the train's path. Our first contact is with the con artist Sampo Koski. He's comic relief, sometimes breaking the fourth wall, but there's obviously more to him than that. Dialogue with the guy makes it seem like he's just an annoying chatterbox, but HSR writes humor really well. I kinda like him based solely on the way he talks. Like, it's impressive how fast he makes up nonsense. Yes, he is also a person with a mysterious past, but it's revealed at the right time, which is after the main quest, not before. Sampo immediately bails on us though when Gepard shows up, the stoic no-nonsense captain of the local guards. On his own, he's a bit stiff, but he makes the Silvermane guards feel like an organized force instead of just generic mobs, and his arc deepens with his sister Serval. That's for later though. For now, the team gets a tour of the city before being taken to Grandmaster Cocolia. I really vibe with the design of Belobog, by the way. Very literal in its interpretation about power above and underdogs below, with the whole split design. All of which immediately comes into question when the leader of the overworld, Cocolia, is confronted by her daughter, BRONYA. Cocolia stays reasonably sane but quickly slides into Stellaron-induced madness, convinced a new world order is needed. Kinda generic as an antagonist, to be honest. In contrast, BRONYA is infinitely more interesting and arguably the best written character in the game. Initially, she white knights so hard that she even chases us into the city's restricted zone, only to be brought to the underground and confronted with the fact that she's blind to real injustice. Her perspective shifts in a slow, satisfying transformation, and by the end, she's gonna stand up for her own ideals, ready to take on the title of Grandmaster. Probably isn't going to be a perfect leader, but at least she's going to be someone who's willing to listen and entertain and enact change, especially when paired with STEELE, a member of the underground team Wildfire. STEELE is angry, pissed off that the majority of people in the underground went a little rabid when both worlds got separated. Sometimes to the point of being annoying, but she keeps the tensions high and she even accompanies us in the final battle. One of BRONYA and STEELE's best moments was when a kid got some medical supplies first and STEELE was about to beat the shit out of him, saying he was nothing more than a thief. STEELE obviously intervenes, telling of how they have to give anyone a second chance, and this recontextualizes STEELE's anger as kinda being prejudiced to her own people, while the moment is also a turning point in BRONYA's development. It's good drama. The drama is good. After that, I get into a few more scraps where the team calms local gangs, then meets Clara and Svarog, the latter of which is a very badass design for a robot. A massive automaton whose strict programming led him to seal off the underground for humanity's survival, while Clara, a timid but kind girl, was raised by Svarog and treats him like family, naming all of his robots and helping the community. Please, 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 someone give this girl shoes. The team convinces her to see that the trio's arrival changes the equation of survival, leading to tense negotiations with Svarog that nearly succeed, but his fail-safes kick in. After a fight, he reconsiders and the team return to the surface. Before we wrap things up though, there are two more characters I haven't talked about. Technically four, since Asta and Arlan were on Herta's spaceship, but I don't care about them. Sorry, Asta and Arlan enjoyers. Anyway, Natasha, the leader of Wildfire, or secret leader, and the underground's only real medical professional, balancing caring for patients with rationing supplies. She describes our arrival as breathing for the first time in years, and her backstory with a morally dubious brother isn't in the main plot but is explored in a side quest, and it is so strong it makes me think HSR might handle side characters better than Genshin. Hook then is the leader of a gang, the Moles, and her story is also mostly in side quests, dealing with what true treasure means and her relationship with her adoptive father. It's sweet, and I am still salty that I keep pulling Serval instead of her. Anyway, continuing with the finale, BRONYA actually went to confront Cocolia herself, while the trio, STEELE and Serval, rushed toward the Stellaron. Serval is presented as this scientist, tinkerer, and musician pop star, but I feel like she comes off as none of these things. She eventually clashes with Japar's unwavering loyalty, eventually swaying him to our side. It's a touching moment with heartfelt dialogue, but the more I think about it, the worse her character gets, and if this heartfelt moment didn't happen, she'd probably be the worst written character in the story. Credit where credit is due though, when the character drama gets going, it gets good. While looking for the Stellaron, the team comes up on the trail of BRONYA and her mother. Turns out other Grandmasters have heard the Stellaron's whisper before, but she is the first one to crack under the pressure. Her villain persona is entertaining, especially when she briefly seems lucid right before losing again. The finale finally climaxes. There's a giant robot, a second phase for Cocolia, a dream sequence where our Stellaron reacts to the planets, and a cool Fire Lance power-up. Cocolia is defeated, the overworld and underground reunite, and while the storm lingers, humanity is in control again. BRONYA steps up as leader, my SEAL X BRONYA ship gets new fuel, and the Express heads on to its next destination. I think the story overall is weaker than Genshin's Mondstadt arc, but when you factor in the overall better character-specific quests, the lack of Paimon's voice in every dialogue, and the overall more mature tone that HSR aims for its older player base, I'd say that as a whole, the writing in general is a step up from Genshin's usual slop-like dialogue. I will definitely be playing more of this in the future, but I'll probably only make a new video when the story gets to a new planet. Like, I don't exactly have a lot to say about the player housing minigames or having to go back to Herta Station to complete all the side quests I missed. Thanks for watching the video and support more STEELE X BRONYA for the future.